Did you know property prices go up? A lot of people somehow don't realize this. My name's Thomas O'Regan. I'm a buyer's agent here in Australia, and I help people buy investment properties and build wealth through investing in property. Okay, so it's just this crazy thing that just keeps on happening. Property prices just keep going up, and some people think it's going to stop, but I'm here to tell you it will never stop. And the reason is because inflation exists. It's actually everything goes up. Wages go up, food goes up, groceries go up, fuel goes up. And when I was a kid, I guess I just didn't care about money enough to notice that prices go up, right? And that's the effect of inflation. So the best way to become wealthy is acquire assets that are inflatable and hold them over a long period of time. Yeah, these might be properties, these might be businesses, these might be things like that, land, whatever you choose, just whatever you choose, whatever inflatable asset you choose to grow your wealth in. Just make sure you learn a lot about it and know enough about it to, I guess, become wealthy, right? But for me, that's property. I just wanted to hit on this video today and give some examples of sort of how property growth works in the markets in Australia. So most or every market in Australia, and I'm talking about the capital cities here, works differently. They don't all work the same. Not every market is going in a straight line up all the time. Okay, so things happen, like inflation doesn't affect everything in a linear fashion, and that especially is true in the property market. So in Perth, the market is typically very volatile. Like that means, like historically, the property market in Perth goes up very quickly and then it comes down very quickly or very slowly over a long period of time. Typically, the property market in Australia goes up very slowly and then sometimes quicker, and then sometimes it plateaus out and doesn't go anywhere for a while, and then it goes up again slowly. But I mean, people really like investing in the Sydney property market because it is like a strong market. You don't see much generally. You don't see much decline in the market. You don't see the market go down much, right? And that is true in a way if you look at it as at Sydney or as New South Wales as a whole market. But the reality is there is markets within markets. Okay, so in Sydney there's the apartment market, and then there's the housing market, like with all the houses, and then there's different suburbs and different areas, and they all are operating on different cycles, and they all get affected by inflation. But there's different things that affect property prices, and that's like supply and demand and other things like that. But today I just kind of wanted to focus on how inflation affects property, and the fact that it is inevitably going to affect property. Okay, so when I'm looking at a property market, I am wanting to invest into properties that are primed for growth. Okay, that means in the near future, in the short to medium future, they are gonna go up a lot in value quickly. Okay, why do I want that? And not just like, say, some blue chip market somewhere, which like Bondi Beach on Sydney, that always seems to go up no matter what, and it doesn't ever dip or anything. It just seems to go in a straight line the whole time, and it's always such a strong market. That's Bondi Beach. Why would I choose to invest in one of these other markets that are a bit more volatile, or have a bit more fluctuation, and they see different periods of the cycle. Why would I want to do that? Well, because I invest in positively geared assets. I invest in positively cash flowing properties. And in the blue chip markets, generally, the properties are not positively cash flowed. They are heavily negatively cash flowed, negatively geared. You can get a lot of tax back on them if you have a good tax accountant, but I don't invest for the tax back, right? And I feel like that's just a dumb strategy if you want to grow a large portfolio or a big or be very wealthy through property, and I guess not need a high paying job attached to it. If you have a high paying job and you want to make a bit of money on the side in property, sure, invest in a blue chip market, but just know the entire time you're going to be investing, the property is dependent on your income and not the other way around. Okay, so the point of investing for me is to become independent, financially free, wealthy, and having to go and work every day at a 9 to 5 or whatever you're going to work to make 500 grand a year, like 80 hours, whatever, as a doctor. I don't think that's financial freedom. So back to my point, yeah. So properties in a lot of markets, there's this big period of just slumping, or like the property market seemingly just doesn't get affected by inflation at all. Like when I see this happen over a 10-year period or so, when I see a property market that has not moved or it's gone backwards over a 10-year period, I know that it has not been affected by inflation. And then I obviously overlay it with what I expect that asset to be worth in the current market, in its current condition as well. Okay, so it's like, how much should a new apartment be worth this day and age for say a 2-bedroom apartment in the city, in a capital city? Like, how much should it be worth? How much does it cost to build it? Like, if we were to build a new one of these, how much would it cost? And I overlay it with those sort of things and go, okay, so if we were to build a new one and the new one cost $400,000 to build, then, and this property here is $300,000, then I can assume it's under market. Then it's under market value, okay? But but basically, if I see a bunch of these properties in an area and they've just been totally flat or they've gone backwards for a long period of time, I'm sort of getting the sign that this market is about to explode. This market is about to go through a growth cycle, because it's very hard for properties in Australia to go through a period of not growing at all for more than 10 years. Because once again, yes, inflation exists, okay? So there's other factors that play into why property grows, but I just like to focus mainly on the inflationary factor that plays into property, because I don't think that will ever change. Like, I don't think inflation is ever going to disappear, right? So, what other factors play into it? Supply and demand. But yeah, inflation is always going to exist, okay? So, and back to what I was saying before, is in everything inflates. Like, cigarettes inflate, food inflates, wages inflate, everything inflates. So it's just like, you cannot avoid it. So that's why I look to it when I'm trying to measure if a property is ready to grow or not. All right, guys. Cheers. Bye.